In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how we can backtest any trading strategy using Python using ATJ Algo Trading Lib. So backtesting is a method to test trading strategies based on historical data, and thanks to that, you can see whether a trading strategy was performing well in the past and to make sure that the strategy can potentially generate a profit in the future. The content of this tutorial is getting history data on a financial asset, then choosing and coding a trading strategy, and then the most important part, we'll be running a backtest and evaluate the results. In this section, we're going to import all necessary libraries that are going to be used for a backtest. So the first one is pandas, which is a data analysis library, and then we'll also use ATJ Algo Trading, which is a library used for backtesting. So in this cell here, we see that we can import pandas as PD, and then from ATJ Algo Trading.backtester, which contains our backtesting class, we are importing the backtester class and then the create price fig function. And I'm going to get into it later once we start using the function, what it exactly does. And also lastly, I'm going to import ipython.display, and this is simply just to display data in our cells. To run a backtest, we of course need historical data on a financial asset, and in this case I have the historical data on the S&P 500 daily chart containing open, high, low, close values. So using pandas, we can read the CSV data and then initialize a data frame. And to do that, all we need to do is use pd.readCSV, and we add the name of our CSV file. And by running this cell, we see that our data frame has been initialized. This data frame will be used to run our backtest, and to show you what the data looks like, we can use the create price fig function that has been imported from our backtester module. So by running this function here, this function creates a price figure that shows the historical data on the S&P 500. Now that we have the historical data on the S&P 500, now we have to choose and code a trading strategy. And the strategy chosen in this backtest is a long only strategy, or in other words, a buy only strategy, and we are going to use moving average crossovers. And in my opinion, the moving average crossovers is an effective strategy to capture long-term bullish trends. So the two technical indicators that we'll need to construct the strategy is the fast moving average with the period 10 and the slow moving average with the period 200. And in this cell, you can see how we can compute these technical indicators. So to compute the SMA with the period 10, we take the open prices of our data frame, then we take the last 10 candles in that data frame, and then we compute the average using the mean method. And the same way for the SMA 200, we can just take again the open prices with the last 200 candles and again computing the average. And by running this cell, we can then display the OHSC data frame, and I've also used the create pricing function again that was imported from our ATJ backtester module, and we can also visualize these indicators by providing the name of the indicator in the indicator section here. As you can see, the name of this column represents the name of the indicator here, and again the name of this column represents the name of this indicator here. So let's now run this cell and see what happens. As you can see, we have created two new technical indicators or columns with SMA 10 and SMA 200, and here with create price fig and adding the extra indicator argument, we have computed OHLC price fig that also displays the SMA 10 and SMA 200. So let me zoom in to show you exactly what this strategy is doing. And so the blue line represents the SMA 10 and the red line represents the SMA 200. And so to explain again what the strategy is doing is whenever the blue line is above the red line, we should be buying, and whenever the blue line is below the red line, we should be closing our long positions. Now that I've explained the strategy in words, we want to convert that into Python code. So for that, I've created a function called onBar. And onBar has three arguments. which is data, which represents an individual row of our OHSC data frame. Trades represents the current state of open and closed trades during the backtest, and orders, which is a class that can open, close, or modify our trades. So inside this function, we have the symbol set to US 500, which is the same as the S&P 500, and the volume is set to 5,000 divided the current market price of the S&P 500. In other words, we are buying a certain number of contracts that is equivalent to 5,000 USD in investment. So in this section here, we can check for open trades by going through our trades data frame here. So as you can see, trades in this case is a data frame, and we're filtering by open trades. And this line here can check for the number of open trades. So now we are going to the entry signal. So again, the signal is whenever the SMA 10 is above the SMA 200, and also in our strategy we don't want to have any open positions. So if this condition is met, then we want to open the trade. So we're using the orders class in this function to open our trade, and we just need to specify the symbol, how much we want to buy, which is the volume, and then of course the order type is buy. If you want to sell, then you would type sell. And for our exit signal, we just check if there are any open positions. And if there are any open positions, we want to check whether the SMA 10 is below the SMA 200. And if that's the case, then we can use orders.close trade, and we are then adding this trade as an argument to close that trade is currently open during the backtest. So let me just run this cell to define a function, and in this section here we can actually run the backtest. So for the backtest, we need to set some initial parameters, and here I'm setting the starting balance of our account to 10,000 US dollars, and I'm setting the currency of the account to USD. And because the S&P 500 is coded in US dollars and the currency of our account is also in USD, then the exchange rate is set to 1. And I have also set the commission on the S&P 500 to be $1 per contract. Here in this section below, we are calling or initializing our backtester class. So again, this backtester is the imported class from our backtester module right here, and it contains all the functions necessary to run the backtest. And to again initialize the backtester, we need to set the starting balance, which we have defined here. We need to set the exchange rate and then set the commission. And as if with any backtest, we need to provide the historical data, and the historical data is our OHSC data frame, which is this data frame here. And we need to set the onBar function. So this is the function that contains our trading logic. And once all of that is plugged in, we can just call bt.run backtest, and that will run the backtest. And after the backtest has been finished, it will generate some trades, and then we can check these trades by running the cell. And as you can see, these are all the generated trades of our backtester. And to visualize what the trades look like on the chart, we can first plot the P&L chart. So by calling bt.plot P&L, we see the P&L of our backtest. So this strategy has generated $5,600 US during the period. And if you want to see for yourself what the trades look on the price chart, we can also call bt.visualize backtest, and again provide the indicators if you want to see these indicators on a chart. So by running this cell, we can now look more closely and maybe investigate trade by trade. So for example, what happened here is that the blue line crossed above the red line. So again, the fast moving average is above the slow moving average, and as a result, we opened a buy position at this point here. Unfortunately, the market reversed back, and then whenever the fast moving average crossed below the red one, this was our exit signal. So our first trade was quite unfortunate, but we can see that, for example, here we have a very nice entry on the S&P 500 where the blue line crossed above the red line, and here we have our entry signal or entry price. And thanks to this strategy, we were able to follow this trend up until this point where again the blue line crossed below the red line. And we see more nice examples here, here, and here. So if you want, to check all trades individually, feel free to do so. But yeah, overall, this strategy performed quite well. So this is just a quick showcase of what the backtester class can do. And now I'd like to talk about the next steps, right? So once the backtest is done and you're happy with the results, of course, you want to create a real trading strategy that is able to execute trades in the live market. So at ATJ Traders, what we do is we write Python trading bots on the MetaTrader 5 platform, and in upcoming videos, I'm going to show you how you can do that. So just a quick word about ATJ Traders. We are an algorithmic trading firm, and we specialize in trading futures and CFD spot markets. And I'd like to announce that in 2025, we are planning to release ATJ memberships. So very soon, you'll be able to access educational courses on algorithmic trading in Python, and you also gain access to Jupyter Lab research and our backtest environment. As part of the Jupyter Lab, you will also gain access to market data API, and also we'll be sharing our market research in this environment as well. And for members who have any questions and need any help, we'll also be offering a member-only community forum. So if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe for future updates, and I'll be back with another video. So thank you for your attention, and see you in the next video.